It's FYF Sports Menace Lamont. We are back with another podcast episode. And man, today we got a reaction video for you guys today, man. We're gonna walk through this video play by play. Just to kind of correlate this with a topic that we brought up the other day in one of our live streams, man. And I just think it's very interesting that this video popped up in my algorithm as soon as I dropped the video that we did a few days ago with regards to the media, Jason Whitlock and Stephen A. Smith. Before we get started, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to the video if you haven't done so already. Grinding. The year 2022 is the year of 100K. All right, we got to get there. All right, by all means necessary. Right, that can only happen if you guys are supporting the channel, smashing the like, sharing the video. And look, if you guys are not getting the notifications, there's a simple fix for that. Because I've been hearing this from a few people on Instagram and Twitter. All you need to do is click the unsubscribe button, resubscribe again, and then click the notification bell. And make sure you click all notifications. Turn all notifications on so you can start getting updated. If that isn't working for you, then make sure you're following us on Instagram and Twitter, both of those, because we drop updates on there whenever videos go live or whenever we're about to have a live stream. All right, so salute to you guys for supporting the channel, man, as we enter 2022. Getting close to approaching 32K subscribers soon. Hey, but you know, this video right here is by a channel called the Black and White Sports Network, and I saw them drop a video titled "Penny Hardaway Brutally Annihilates the Media and Stephen A. Smith Tells Him to Shut Up, You're Black." And you guys obviously know why this stood out to me, because I watched Penny Hardaway's response to the media, right? When he blew up on the media. All right, some can say it's justified, some can say it was unprofessional. You can slice that up however you want. Stephen A. Smith follows it up the next day and gives his take on this stance. And I told you guys, there's not a lot of things that we agree with Stephen A. Smith on per se, but I felt like his response to Penny Hardaway was dead on, because he talked about media perceptions, right? How black coaches already are not given the same leeway that white coaches are. And we just saw that with the NFL. We watched black coaches, right, have years struggling, right? But as opposed to some white counterparts who can struggle for years and years and years and years and years and still have a job, these black coaches are like in and out. As soon as they show any signs of struggle or if you even want to call those seasons failures, they're just letting these coaches go just like that. So, I mean, the public sports sector has given us clear-cut evidence that black coaches don't have much leeway with regards to wins and losses, and then also with regards to incidents like this with Penny Hardaway. If you're going to epically blow up and use that type of language towards the media, even though it was deserved, based on what I saw. But we're going to check out this reaction, because obviously the number one thing that stands out to me in this title by Black and White Sports, and I don't know how this channel popped up on my algorithm or my feed. I had never heard of them before. I'm glad I ran into them. But the number one thing you see in the thumbnail, it says Stephen A. Smith tells him, "Shut up, you're black." And again, for me, that was very alarming, because I did not hear Stephen A. Smith use those types of words, nor give any statements to suggest that he should shut up because he's black. All right, but we're going to break this down, because the funny thing is the guy actually plays the video, and it almost looks as if he's starting to make stuff up, because the video that he plays of Stephen A. Smith doesn't support the narrative or the title of the video. Let's go ahead and start the reaction, man. But man, this is crazy, some of the things that are going on. But we're gonna break this down play by play. We're gonna play a little bit. We're gonna stop it every now and then when necessary to give our take on it. But let me go ahead and play some of this clip. We're gonna go through the full video. It's only a 9-minute clip, so be patient, because we got to do a comprehensive breakdown of this take right here. As I showed in my video, like I told y'all before, it's starting to look as if people are going out of their way to make up lies just because they don't like Stephen A. Smith. And this seems to be one of those incidents, but I'm going to let you guys decide.
former NBA player Anthony Penny Hardaway. Now, Penny Hardaway is the head coach at his alma mater, the University of Memphis. Now, his first 3 seasons, he has won over 20 games. This is his 4th season, and guys, it is not going very well for Penny. And despite having 3 20-win seasons, he's also recruited, I should say, not drafted, high-ranked classes. But they have yet to actually make the NCAA tournament. Now, he did win the NIT championship last year with Memphis. But now, guys, Penny and the Memphis Tigers have lost 8 of their past 12 games. And the media asked him a question. Do you still have confidence, in your ability to coach? Somewhere along those lines. And Penny exploded on the media. You see here, Penny Hardaway goes off on the media after Memphis lost. Stop asking me stupid fucking questions. Now, let's listen to this clip here because Penny, he's pissed off. Okay? So let's go ahead and listen to this part of the clip.
I think the one thing I can say to this media, because this media gets kind of up sometimes when it comes to me, we don't have our full roster. Y'all know we don't have our full roster. Stop asking me stupid questions about if I feel like I can do something. If I had my roster like they did, then I feel like I can do whatever I want to do. I'm coaching really hard. My boys are playing really hard. I'm not embarrassed about nothing. We have 4 freshmen starting. Y'all need to act like it. Act like we got 17, 18, and 19-year-olds out here trying to learn how to play against 22, 23, and 24-year-old guys. Come on, man. Stop disrespecting me, bro. Like, don't do that. I work too hard. I work way too hard for that. Y'all write all these articles about me, and all I do is work. We got young kids on the floor. They got young kids on the floor.
Boy, Penny Hardaway not happy with that question from the media and absolutely just went off. Very upset, losing.
Had to stop it right there really briefly to kind of put a little context to some of the things that we've heard already, right? The host of the show mentioned that Penny Hardaway and the Memphis Tigers haven't been able to make the tournament over the past 3 seasons. That is facts, right? But again, I don't think there's anybody in the national media that have highly criticized him for not making the tournament, not from what I've saw, because the last time we saw them with the chance to really make a push for the tournament, they had James Wiseman, and James Wiseman ended up dealing with a lot of eligibility issues and didn't even finish out the season with that team. So obviously that is going to play a major factor into how well you can do. I think the media was pretty understanding of that right there. And then with regards to this season, putting things into context, young teams across the board are struggling. Young teams across the board are struggling. Right? We saw last year how Duke and Kentucky tried to bring in young teams and they struggled. The question is why? When the NCAA allowed that extra year eligibility and seniors were able to come back, teams were able to come back much older. Guys were given additional years of eligibility. We saw multiple teams load up, like Texas Tech and a number of other teams load up with transfer students, really gearing up, adding as much experience as possible. And when these types of teams run into these young teams, regardless of how many 5-star prospects you have, they're going to get outplayed. They're going to get outsmarted. These other teams are going to be more physical, right? And they're going to be more game ready. That's right. So there's a number of things right there. And again, I don't know where this obviously Penny Hardaway sees a different level of media locally in Memphis, but on the national scene, I think the national scene has been a bit more understanding on Penny Hardaway's struggles. So again, this is one of the things I want you guys to digest as we get through this video. I can understand why he's frustrated on the local level, but on the national scene, I don't see where all of this pressure and criticism is coming from. I just haven't seen it because, again, just like I was able to break that down and understand the struggles that they're going through, even though they brought in some great players, I think anybody national would do that. I think on a local level, when you are a coach for a university that's owned by the state, so it's considered a public university, as the head coach of a team, right? He's considered a state employee, right? Maybe regardless of injuries, there is a level of success that local media wants to see. And when you don't win, right? When you have all these boosters put money into the team, there's going to be some criticism, whether it's justified or not. But let's go ahead and get back, because I want you guys to, I want the host. I want the host, and I want to see if the host of this video actually gets to the title of what he put in there. He said, Stephen A. Smith tells Penny Hardaway to shut up, you're black. I want to see if how he tries to manipulate and craft that into his reaction to this. I'm curious to see how he does it, because again, it looks to me like there are a lot of people out there just going out of their way to make up lies on Stephen A. Smith for absolutely no reason at all, just simply because you don't like his takes on sports. Let's go ahead and get back to the video.
In 8 or 12 games, I'm pretty sure he would not be happy. Now, to Stephen A. Smith of ESPN. Stephen A. Smith weighed in on Penny Hardaway going off on the media, guys. Stephen A. Smith scorns Penny Hardaway's media tirade. You cannot be a black man in that position and lose your cool. Stephen Anthony Smith brings in race. He brings in race. He wants Penny to shut up because he's a black man.
Now, the host of the show said Stephen A. Smith brought in race. That's just kind of ironic, being that the channel name is called Black and White Network Sports, which is like the channel name itself that he's reacting on kind of brings race into the picture. That's just kind of ironic. We'll digress from that and get back to the topic. So he says Stephen A. introduces race to a topic like this. And I feel, as a black man who's gotten to the pinnacle of sports media and Stephen A. Smith, I think it would be only right for him to make other black coaches aware that being black and being in a coaching position, it matters. Your race does matter. We've seen for so long the NFL struggle to get black head coaches. And, you know, we've seen the Rooney Rule. All these things have to get. Why did all these things have to get put in place if race didn't matter? Right? We see this across the board. Overwhelmingly, coaches and GMs and executives of teams, even though these sports, football, basketball, are dominated by black athletes, they're overwhelmingly, these front office positions and head coaching positions are overwhelmingly dominated by white men. Stephen A. Smith is making Penny Hardaway, a young coach, a guy that doesn't have much experience coaching at the college level. He's making him aware of the fact that as a black coach, you don't have the leeway to do and say whatever you please to the media, primarily because they don't give you that much of a leash. First of all, you cannot let the media break you, right? Because this is probably, more than likely, it's not a lot of media that's doing this. It's probably just one reporter or reporting group or news outlet that's just pushing this narrative that he's struggling to coach. And this just kind of pushed him over the edge, especially after a frustrating loss. And if you've been a part of any game, right, as I've had, after a loss, the last thing you want to do is sit down and talk to people about why you lost. That's the last thing you want to do, because generally the most pleasant things don't come out your mouth after a tough loss. I've been through tough losses as a player and as a coach, so I understand Penny Hardaway's anger in that moment. But you cannot allow the media to break you. And again, he's going to play the video, so I'm going to allow Stephen A. Smith to kind of elaborate on it a little bit more. But this man has taken what Stephen A. Smith has said. Stephen A. Smith said, and you see it right here, he says, you cannot be a black man in that position, a head coaching position at a college, and lose your cool. That is 100% facts. Is that Tim telling Penny Hardaway to shut up? No. He's just advising him, you cannot allow the media to break you. There are ways to respond to them. There's ways to handle the media where you don't put yourself in that light or put yourself in the position where the school feels that maybe we can cut ties with you and bring in somebody else. And generally when that happens with a black coach, they usually bring in a white coach. Come on, man. Race does play a factor in some of these things. Is he playing the race card? No. He's talking to Penny Hardaway, saying your race does matter. It matters because of your job, and it matters because you're looked at by your players as a leader of men. Those are the two things I think that he's trying to bring light in. We're going to continue with the video. We'll see if this guy continues on with this this bad take saying that Stephen A. Smith told Penny Hardaway to shut up because he's black. Let's see if he continues on with the lie. Let's go.
Boy, Stephen A. knows how to actually bring race into anything. But we're going to react to Stephen A. Smith on what he said about Penny Hardaway in this clip that he was actually on First Take. Let's go ahead and roll this clip now.
Can y'all knock this, take this video out and put me on camera, please? I want me on camera right now. Let me say this to Penny Hardaway. I am a fan. I want everybody to know this. I'm a fan of Penny Hardaway.
Now, guys, honestly, Penny Hardaway, if you young people didn't see him in the 90s, this guy was the real deal until injuries took him out. He could have been probably the next Kobe. He was actually
Side note for anybody listening, Penny Hardaway was not going to be the next Kobe, y'all. Maybe the next Magic, right? Something like that. Not the next Kobe. That's a bad comparison right there. Were they both guards that could score? Yes. But Kobe and Penny Hardaway played nothing alike. Their demeanors, their approach to the game was completely different. I mean, if anything, you can maybe say a more athletic Magic Johnson. Like, again, for a sports channel, again, that's a bad take. That's a side note. Let's not digress off the primary topic, but that's a bad take. Penny Hardaway was not similar to Kobe whatsoever, but we'll move on past that.
Before Kobe, but let's move on.
He's a great dude, and I think he's doing a hell of a job at Memphis. First 3 years there, he's won 20 games. 20, 21, 22 games. First 3 years. They're struggling as of recently because of the reasons that he said. Penny Hardaway, I believe, is a damn good coach who's only going to get better and better.
Now, just so you guys know, the Memphis Tigers are 9-8 on the season right now.
And we know he's a hell of a recruiter, and Memphis should be lucky to have him. Having said all of that, let me say this to you, Penny. That does you no good, bro. Don't do that. Yeah, the media and, they might ask you questions that you don't like. They might write things about you don't appreciate or whatever. You've been around a long time. You played in the NBA for 15 years. You ain't new to this, bro. You in the movies. The movie Blue Chips with Shaq and the crew. I like that movie. And Nick Nolte and all of them.
That's
Damn
a good
it, you
movie.
in the movies for crying out loud. You played in the NBA for 15 years. And now you're a leader of young men. Unfortunately, unfairly, you cannot be a black man in that position and lose your cool the way that you did.
Why not? What does him having? What does Penny being a black man have to do with anything? We hear this a lot from Stephen A. Smith. He always says as a black man. But if he was white, Stephen A. Smith wouldn't have a problem with that. But since he's black, he needs to shut up. Okay.
That's gotta be honestly one of the worst takes I've ever heard. I don't know how, with this guy being black himself, I don't know how he doesn't understand that the connection to Stephen A. Smith. What he's saying is white coaches historically have been able to get away with things like this, and it hasn't been these incidents like this with white coaches hasn't stained their reputation as much because they don't lose their jobs just like that when they have 1 or 2 down seasons in a row. We've seen white coaches, college and professional, stay in the job for years and years and years on end, even amidst a number of losing seasons after losing season after losing season after losing season, and even irresponsible actions here or there, maybe on off the field, and these coaches are able to keep their job long term. Whereas we've seen with black coaches lose their jobs just like that when there's just one maybe slight or a slight transgression off the field or 1 or 2 losing seasons, and they're not given the same leeway. We've seen black head coaches get afforded opportunities to coach, but they're placed in horrible situations, right? If we look at Mark Jackson, let's just use Mark Jackson in the NBA. What he took a Golden State Warrior team, molded them into a championship roster, and as they were on the verge of becoming one of the greatest dynasties of this era, he was replaced with Steve Kerr, a white counterpart. Why? Because of his religious beliefs, and he was not backing down off that behind the scenes. Not much leeway. So a coach that's on the verge of building a championship team gets a black coach at that, gets removed because of he has such strong religious beliefs that kind of carry a few waves in the locker room. Yes, maybe there was a few clashes logistically with the offense that some players didn't agree, but irregardless, those are things that could be worked out. Mark Jackson, a winning coach, a guy that brought a Golden State team out from the gutter into the top of the Western Conference, is fired for a white head coach in Steve Kerr that had absolutely zero experience coaching. Zero experience. Replaced just like that over religious beliefs. How much leeway is that? Steve Kerr just before this year, Steve Kerr had 2 back-to-back horrible seasons with the Warriors. Did he get fired? Doc Rivers takes a Clipper team to the playoffs. They have a collapse there. He's fired because they don't meet expectations just like that. We got Silas out in Dallas right now, or Silas in Houston right now. They're talking about his job may be on the line. He was given a horrible Houston Rocket team that's supposed to be in the lottery. Yet people are saying that his job may be on the line already after just 2 years in Houston with nothing to work with. A lot of turmoil. The best player, we don't know what they're doing with him. You got a player in Eric Gordon, you don't know where he's going. They're already saying his job is on the line because the team isn't showing any signs of progress. How is he supposed to show any signs of progress with a broken roster, broken team, no direction, or a front office that doesn't know what to do with his best players, but yet Silas is the one that may end up getting axed because of all of this? Black coaches don't have much of a leeway. It's proven, it's etched in history. Why Stephen A. Smith brought race into it? Because it does matter. Because there's a historical track record of black head coaches getting fired and not giving much leeway, as opposed to their white counterparts who can fail and have transgressions on and off the field time and time again, yet keep their jobs. There's a historical track record of that. So for Stephen A. Smith to remind Anthony Hardaway that remember what Stephen A. Smith just said. He says, unfortunately and unfairly, right? This is just how things are. There's not much he can do to fix it. Unfortunately and unfairly, this is, yes. Is it unfair? Yes. Is it unfortunate? Yes. But you have to be mindful of how things are, and you cannot let the media break you. You have to be mindful of that. On top of the fact that he's a leader of men. So when this host says, why can't Penny Hardaway snap, right? Because as soon as he can't snap, he says, why can't Penny Hardaway? He said, you can't snap like that. The host says, well, why not? Stephen A. Smith has already answered it. You're a leader of men. There's a certain example that you have to put forth to them. If you break, they break. I remember we just had a game Tuesday, right? On a smaller scale. You guys know that I coach over at GCU. We were down at halftime to Justice College. You know the first thing I did with my team? In the past, and I've learned from in the past, maybe I'm yelling at my team, talking about their mistakes. You know what I told them? I said, we fine. As a leader of that team, I have to be the one to keep the level head, stay cool, calm, and collective. And we ended up winning that game by double-digit points because they were able to calm down, get back to playing basketball the way they want. And you have to be a leader. You show composure, and it rubs off onto your players. They show composure as well in tough situations, because you better believe that if Penny Hardaway's getting slander in the media, what do you think those players are going through? What do you think those players are going through on social media? What do you think people are saying to Imani Bates? What do you think people are saying to Imani Bates on social media because he's struggling? Right? I'm talking about, I've seen college players get death threats, all types of things. At the end of the day, it's unfair, it's unfortunate, but as a leader of that team, you can't allow yourself to be broken. And that's going to trickle down into your players. And when they deal with that same media resistance, slander, maybe crazy comments from fans, Dale will also know how to handle it because they're just simply going to mimic what they see their head coach doing. That's why Stephen A. Smith has to introduce race into it. And this is why he has to remind Penny Hardaway. And this is not just anybody. This is a guy who's at the head of sports media. He's at the top of ESPN, giving Anthony Hardaway sound advice. Is he telling him to shut up? No, he's not telling him to shut up. The black and white network, man, we got to stop perpetuating and pushing these lies and push the real message here. Because obviously Penny Hardaway can't just go sit in front of the press and say nothing. He has to talk. But there's a way you can answer those questions, right? There's a way you can shut reporters down, but you can do it in a way where you don't lose composure. And it cannot be said that the media has broken you, right? As a leader of that team, it's your job to stay composed. That's a fact.
That works to your benefit, bro. There's too much you got to give those kids. There's too much you got to give college basketball. There's too much you have to give society as a whole, considering the influence that you're going to have on young men, to let these folks get to you and lose your cool like that. I'm sure every question ain't idiotic. I'm sure every article isn't excoriating you. You got some supporters out there because it's impossible, because anybody that knows you should support you. I support you. Penny Hardaway, I just want you to keep your cool. Remember, my brother, it's about the marathon, not the sprint. Sure, they're going to try to break you. Some people, not all, some of them, whoever they are. That ain't new to you, bro. You've been here before. You can handle it. Just be cool and do what you do.
Okay, guys. So I still don't get why Stephen A. Smith brings up race in this case. Has nothing to do with race at all. But this is what Stephen A. Smith has done a whole lot in his professional career. You cannot be a black man in that position and lose your cool. Guys, we've seen many black coaches lose their cool. Denny Green lost his cool. Also, you saw, I can't remember the coach of the Jets, Herm Edwards. He lost his cool. Many white coaches have lost their cool too. Penny being black has nothing to do with this. The man was frustrated because he has lost 8 of his past 12 games. And apparently,
I had to stop it right there. Look, there was an article put out recently by the Washington Post, y'all. The article was about the NFL, and it said, senior NFL official says there's a double standard for black coaches when it comes to keeping jobs. Right? Troy Vincent, the NFL's executive vice president of football operations, said the league should not shy away from its record of teams firing black coaches after winning seasons or short tenures. The top NFL official said Tuesday there is a double standard in the league when it comes to retaining and hiring black coaches. Appointed public acknowledgement by the league and its teams have fallen short of a goal of increasing diversity within the senior coaching ranks. There is clear and concise evidence that Stephen A. Smith is alluding to, because Stephen A. Smith didn't make it a black and white issue, just similar to how this channel was named, Black and White. He didn't make it a black and white issue. He said, because you're a black man, right? This article that I just read by the Washington Post was just put out on January 10th, right? As of January 10th, it's understood that there's an issue with black head coaches being able to retain their jobs. They're either getting fired after winning seasons, right? Or what they're doing is they're getting fired after a very short tenure, and they're not given much time to bring these teams back out of the depths of oblivion, right? Another article out by the Shadow League says, I would be lying if I said that race wasn't a factor. Dominique Foxworth agrees black head coaches are still victims of a short leash. Right? This article was put out January 14th, 2022. Right? On Get Up, Dominique Foxworth says race played a factor in both of the firings of the 2 black coaches who got fired this year. right? He says it played a factor, and it's odd that these black head coaches are given a much shorter leash than their white counterparts. I don't know why this guy is acting as if race isn't a factor in this, right? No. Do we want to make everything racial? Did he even make it racial with Penny? No, because he didn't bring up the white counterparts that are able to keep their jobs. He didn't bring that up. He says, be mindful of the position that you're in. Be mindful of what's going on in sports today when there's a clear historical track record of black coaches being given a short leash, regardless of the success that they've had with a team, right? And if they see failures, you know, coaches, too many black coaches are getting fired after a short tenure. Penny Hardaway has had some success there at Memphis, couple 20 win seasons, right? His tenure is still short, but history shows us that these colleges and professional teams are willing to fire a black coach, irregardless of success or irregardless of some of the underlying and outside circumstances that played a major role into that team's inability to succeed. That's a fact. I don't understand the host here going at Stephen A. Smith with this particular angle, and he still hasn't addressed where he came up with this fake narrative where Stephen A. Smith said, "Shut up to Penny Hardaway, you're black." This is not what he said, and how you get, the only way you get this message out of what Stephen A. Smith said, when he just basically said, you got to keep your cool in those matters, which is something I recommend to every head coach as well. You got to keep your cool when dealing with the media, right? Because not only is your job on the line, but you have a whole bunch of players in that locker room, black athletes, who are looking at their social media feeds, trying to figure out, how do I deal with this troll? How do I respond to this person? Right? This media person saying this to me on my timeline. They're looking to the head coach for direction on how to do that. And they're going to mimic what the head coach does, man. I just don't understand where this guy is coming from, acting as if he doesn't understand what Stephen A. Smith is saying. And the crazy thing is not only him. There's so many people that have taken what Stephen A. Smith said and they've manipulated into something, warped it into something, just to label him going against the grain or going against Penny Hardaway. He's putting them at odds. This is completely sad to me, the narrative that y'all pushing. But y'all saw my last video about Jason Whitlock and Stephen A. Smith, so we have an understanding as to why this is happening. There are probably a lot of people running around out here who have now become incentivized to make up these slanderous things and going at Stephen A. Smith. And like I said, it's just out of the blue. All right, let's finish off the video. Maybe he addresses this false title where he says, "Shut up, you're black." Maybe he addresses it. I don't know. But let's see. Let's give him an opportunity to clean up his statement.
Apparently, they have a bunch of injuries. Not making an excuse, at all. But I just don't agree with Stephen A. Smith bringing in race. And guys, we're living in woke sports right now. The woke sports media, they should give Penny a pass because he's a black man, even though I don't want anybody to get any kind of pass based on race. He has injuries. Okay, not an excuse. You should still win games. It's just that simple, man. I would never use the injury excuse for losing games. The best coaches do not use that excuse. Now, when it comes to women's college basketball, Gino Auriemma, probably the greatest coach in women's college basketball ever, he's dealing with a lot of injuries right now. He's losing games, but I don't think he's out there making excuses as to why he's actually losing games. Now, they haven't lost like 8 out of their past 12. I mean, Gino Auriemma is an all-time great coach. But what do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of Stephen A. Smith right now? Basically telling Penny Hardaway to shut up because you're black when it comes to going off on the media. Does he think that Penny Hardaway is going to get fired for this, because he's black? If Penny Hardaway gets fired, it will be because of his production, coaching a team, and nothing to do with race.
Okay, my answer to this nonsense would be, how is Scott Brooks able to have a coaching job so long? How does Mark Jackson's coaching tenure, a guy that Every year he coached the Golden State Warriors, they got better, and he turned them into a championship contender. He gets fired. Scott Brooks has been mediocre everywhere he's been. Frank Vogel, up until 2020, when the LeBron and Anthony Davis won him a chip, getting opportunity after opportunity. Right? When you look at a guy named Phil Handy was a part of the Lakers championship team. He was a part of the Cavs championship team. He was assistant coach for the Toronto Raptors when they won their championship. He hasn't even had an opportunity to become a head coach yet. He hasn't even sniffed. Nobody's even thrown any offers at him. But he's been a part of 3 champions in as many years as an assistant coach. Everywhere he goes, that team turns into a champion. Yet, if race doesn't play a factor in this, then why were the Lakers so hesitant at hiring Jason Kidd as their head coach? Why? Because all of this media pressure said, okay, if you want to hire that black head coach, we're going to dig up everything in his past. We're going to dig up all this stuff in his past, and we ain't going to allow you to hire him. Right? Same with Chauncey Billups. You know how hard it was for the Portland Trail Blazers to hire Chauncey Billups? And he's already going to be on a short leash because as soon as they announced he was going to get hired, what did the media start doing? The media start digging up old stuff, old records, stuff that wasn't even criminal. Oh, he did this, he did that. You can't hire him, all non-basketball related stuff. When was the last time they did? Do you guys ever remember them doing that to Terry Stotts? When Portland hired Terry Stotts, did anybody go digging up his track record? Terry Stotts was able to stay in Portland for a long time, even though for years and years and years, a lot of people were saying that they were mediocre. We can go down the list. Look at a guy like Mike D'Antoni. Has never won a championship. Can get a job whenever he wants. He can get a job whenever he wants. Look at both the Van Gundys. The Van Gundys, every time a coaching job is available, both the Van Gundys' names are thrown in there, and they're top candidates to get a job. Yet they've won nothing. They've done nothing great in this league. Right? But when you look at a coach like Willie Green, right? What team, what contending team, did the Clippers, when they got rid of Doc Rivers, did they look to bring in a guy like Willie Green? A young coach, a young name? No, what they do is with these black head coaches, they put them in desolate situations with bad teams saying, go make a miracle happen. And then even if they make a miracle happen like Mark Jackson did, they're getting fired anyway for petty stuff. Are you telling me that what Mark Jackson did, Mark Jackson's firing had nothing to do with race? Are you honestly telling me that? I want this guy in Black and White Sports to answer that. Are you honestly telling me that Mark Jackson's firing had nothing to do with race? Come on, y'all got to stop with this performance stuff, right? I've given you there's plenty of examples of black head coaches having successful tenures with a team and always finding themselves on the hot seat anytime just one little small thing goes wrong. Well, we got to stop trying to see. It's people like this that just sit here and gonna fake like there isn't an element of race that you don't have to incorporate into it. And I don't believe Stephen A. Smith made this about race. Stephen A. Smith just made Penny Hardaway aware of the fact that you're a black man, right? He's not only a black man, but he's a coach of a public university. Memphis is a public university, which means the head coach is a state employee, which means it's much easier to fire that coach. You got to be mindful of your job. You have to be mindful of the fact that you are a leader of black athletes. You have a young team that's going to be extremely impressionable, and they're going to take on the persona of the coach. You don't want them taking on the same persona of attacking the media or attacking any troll on social media, going at them, getting into these battles online. You want them locked in, focused on the game so they can ultimately improve. And as for Penny Hardaway in his career himself, history shows that the black head coaches don't have much of a leash for these types of mistakes. That's a fact. All right, come on. But hey, you know what? Salute to Black and White's Network, which again, I think is so ironic that the host of this show is saying, why is Stephen A. Smith bringing up race? And the name of his channel is Black and White Network. It's super ironic. That just completely makes no sense to me. You know, but I guess this is the times that we live in, where people have now become incentivized to slander people, right, without any reason at all. I mean, there's so many things you could go at Stephen A. Smith on. This just wasn't one of them. I think this is one of the dumber ways to angle or go at Stephen A. Smith, because in this instance right here, it's one of the few times that Stephen A. Smith was actually right about something. It is one of the few times. You guys, let me know in the comments what you think about this video right here. Make sure you guys, the link to the original video is going to be in the description of the video. The title of the video is Penny Hardaway brutally annihilates the media and Stephen A. Smith tells him to shut up, you're black. Again, obviously the title is a lie. Stephen A. Smith never told him to shut up, you're black, right? Well, it's just funny to me. My question would be, is how come you didn't put in the title, Stephen A. Smith tells Penny Hardaway, you cannot lose your cool? Because those are his exact words. This man pulled up an article, and even in the article that he pulled up, they didn't even misinterpret his words. Even in the article, in the title of that article, they said Stephen A. tells Penny Hardaway, you cannot lose your cool. He manipulates it and says Stephen A. Smith told Penny Hardaway, shut up, you're black. Look, y'all, just like I received those emails from people affiliated with the Blaze Network, offering me incentivizations to make videos about Stephen A. Smith, this is a clear and concise example of other people who may have also received those same emails, but taken those companies up on those offers. These attacks on Stephen A. Smith, again, unprovoked. They're not very well thought through. People are literally making up things to put in their titles to push a narrative against them, and I don't know why. But it's starting to become clearer and clearer what's going on here. And you guys, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the live chat. This is a live premiere. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what you think about this channel. If you've seen any of their past content, unfortunately, I haven't. You guys, I like to do my research, so I'll be following up on them. I'll keep a close eye on them, because again, it's looking like we may have to label another shock jock out here if we continue to see bad takes like this. Look, we've already labeled Stephen A. as shock jock for his basketball takes. We've labeled Jason Whitlock, Ticket TV, Carcino. These are all shock jocks. Is this black and white network, are they also now shock jocks? Are they even big enough in the media to be labeled shock jocks? I'm gonna let you guys decide, man. We'll be going live tonight. Make sure you guys come check us out, man. But as for today, it's been a great podcast episode. We'll be back with more sports and news later. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram, Twitter. All right. If you're not getting notifications to the video, unsubscribe, resubscribe, hit the notification bell. Otherwise, just follow us on Instagram and Twitter, where we drop all notifications for all new videos. But it's FYF Sports, man. Another great podcast episode. We'll be back with more sports and news. But until then, it's FYF Sports, and we out.
Really made.